And yeah, it's good. It's basically a red laser. Like, it has red laser benefits. Ooh. This is why you use your secondary, dude. Switching to your secondary is always faster than reloading, which is why I reloaded in that fight and didn't switch, because me and him, we're both, like, trained in the same way. Ooh. That's fine, but not all the time, not as much as the... Oh, there you are. People do not camp in this game like they used to. Hello. You're camping too. What are you doing? Alright, so hello gamers, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be showing you some of the best sights in Phantom Forces. Sights are extremely important for your guns, and I don't think I really have to explain why. They just help you shoot Lego people easier, which is pretty self-explanatory, but make sure to like and subscribe if you're new. Let's go for 1,000 likes, and I'll do a barrel video talking about the best barrel attachments, but yeah, let's get into it. First off, we have iron sights, and I'm going to be real. Most iron sights are not very good, but I'll talk about a few of the ones that are actually pretty solid. First off, we have the double open sight. Now, if you don't really want a red dot and you want kind of a more accurate but not extremely precise reticle, pretty good, because yeah, it's double open. It doesn't really have any kind of dots. It has two circles, but as you can see, those two circles, they line up. It's slim, unobstructive, and doesn't give you a super precise picture, so it's not really that good for like headshotting people in a sniper rifle over range. But for any automatic gun, more CQC to medium range base, this is a pretty good iron sight overall. I just prefer a little bit more flavor to my iron sights, because if I'm running irons, they better be interesting, you know? Because honestly, I would probably just prefer to have a red dot sight. So yeah, double open sights, pretty solid, not gonna lie. I think they're good. Next up, we have one of the best iron sights in the game on a particular gun that actually goes on any gun you really want. And that is the KAC sights from the Mark 11. Now, these have quite a bit of zoom, but as you can see, they're really not obstructive at all. Very precise with that little bar in the center. And you can hit some serious shots with this. And this is definitely, if you're going off a starter gun iron sights, these are the best. You know, if you don't want any attachments on your guns, then the Mark 11 is probably one of the best guns in the game, especially for the starter guns. It's probably by far the best starter iron sights in the game. M4A1 irons, you know, Colt LMG irons, they do not stack up to how good these are, but they are definitely suited more for a DMR, and that's about it. You can run them on an automatic gun, and they're pretty good, but like the zoom level is not great, you know? It's a lot of freaking zoom. But yeah, moving on to my favorite and probably the best iron sights in the entire game, the IWI sights. Now, these are the TAR-21 irons, and the TAR-21 irons are probably some of the most popular and loved irons in the game. Like, a lot of TAR-21 users don't even use the sight on them because, as you can see, like, these are cool. This is the flavor I was talking about when it comes to iron sights. They better be interesting if they're going to be used by me, because I don't really like iron sights that much overall. This really does bring like flavor to iron sights, and they're really cool. They're really high off the gun, but when you aim down sights, your bullets are actually centered on your head anyway. So it doesn't really matter how far off of the gun they are. Kind of an interesting fact. They do come out of the barrel when you're not aiming, but when you start aiming down sights, they come out of your head, which is why head glitching is a thing in this game. It's because basically your gun can be behind cover, but if your gun isn't, you can actually still shoot, which is really interesting. See, with low objects, as you can see, it's shooting the barrel, but now it's not. Same spot though, you know? Very interesting feature, probably should get removed. I feel like your bullets should always come out of your barrel, just because like it would kind of nerf these types of iron sights and make them not quite as accurate, I guess. But also head glitching would basically be fully removed from the game, which would be kind of good because some spots are kind of abusable. That's just my opinion, but also I feel like a lot of people would like that. It would kind of ruin these iron sights though, so for this video, I guess it would be kind of annoying. But yeah, the IWS sights are great. They're really, really good irons. Probably the best in the game. Look no further than these if you want irons, but they're really high kill, so there's that. But then last up, we have the two final ones that are great. First up, the AAC iron sights, which are the Honey Badger irons, and yeah, these are great iron sights. Probably the other automatic gun that people do not run a sight on a lot of the time. I used to not run a sight on my Honey Badger, and that's because, yeah, these iron sights are great. Suit the recoil quite well on that gun, and they're accurate looking, really clean, and I don't know, they're great. Oh, there you are. Nice. And the last one is dual aperture sights, the Vector irons. These are pretty cool, a little bit more obstructive, and yeah, the reticle isn't that big, but they're really cool. I do like them. The Vector is one of those guns that people do tend to run iron sights on more than others, but not all the time, not as much as the... Oh, there you are. These guys love to camp behind corners, and I'm not used to it. I'm used to people just like running out in the open, you know? People do not camp in this game like they used to. Hello. You're camping too. What are you doing? But hey, they're not good, and they're not killing me, so I don't really care. People only complain about camping when they die to campers, not when there are people camping. Next up, we have the normal sights. Geotech, XPS2, and Z-Point are great, but the first one I really wanted to talk about is the Delta sight. Delta sight, 60 kills, 1.5 zoom. They actually buffed it a little bit by making the reticle smaller, as that triangle used to be way larger. They made it really small. I don't know why they made it that much smaller. Like, it is like 1/4 this size. It's really weird. I think it's overall a liked change, but I don't really like it as much as I thought I would. It was definitely a better buff on the mini sight, which used to have a massive dot. Now it doesn't, but it's an alright change. Overall, a great sight. And then we have a really cool sight, which is the Mars sight. And if you don't know what this does, it buffs your your hip fire, it has 1.5 times zoom, and because your bullets come out of your head, it doesn't matter that it's off of your gun. The only issue is that it's kind of obstructive, not gonna lie. The circle is pretty obstructive, but it's a good sight. Basically like a coyote sight for less kills, and actually buffs your hip fire recovery speed and recoil recovery speed a little bit, and yeah, it's good. It's basically a red laser. Like, it has red laser benefits. Ooh. This is why you use your secondary, dude. Switching to your secondary is always faster than reload, which is why I reloaded in that fight and didn't switch, because me and him, we're both like trained in the same way. Ooh. That's fine. This lobby is like actually like, I don't even know, actual brain rot. And I got impact grenaded. Okay. Attack sights are okay. Mini sight is okay. Comp aim point is okay. But the next one is, of course, the reflex sight. Reflex sight needs no introduction, but people don't use it as much as they used to, but they still do use it a lot. It basically was like the main sight in like 2020, 2021. Most players, and it's not really in need of an introduction. It's just a 1.5 times zoom, little dot. It's not really as popular on my guns in particular. Like, I don't use it as much as I used to. Cobra sight is pretty good, but then we have coyote sight. Coyote sight, this has 2x zoom. It's probably like one of my favorite sights, if not my favorite sight in the game. Mars is kind of up there. I really like the Mars now, but and Delta, of course, but Delta buff is going to, or Delta change, I guess. It's kind of a buff because it's less obstructive than it used to be, but I don't know. Yeah, the Coyote sight is great because it has a 2 times zoom, which some people don't like, but some people do like. I like it. It's definitely not the best for like high recoil guns at all. For those, definitely Delta sight or reflex, or even as far as an AMT Terminator. Definitely do not run a Coyote sight on an AK or something, you know, unless it's the AK-74, and that's fine. I used to run it on the AK-47. Do not. It is bad because it zooms in 2 times. It basically makes you feel like you have double the recoil versus, you know, reflex, which would make you feel like you had 50% more. So yeah, that's another whatever, 50, not really 50%. I don't know. I don't want to do math. Makes it feel like your gun go up more, okay? That's all it does. I don't like that, and most people don't. But on low recoil guns like the AS-Val, like the AUGs, like guns like that, even the Chris Vector, I do run it on the Chris Vector. Great on sniper rifles, great on DMRs, definitely the most overall usable, and what is the word I'm looking for? I've said it so many times in videos. I don't know what word I'm looking for. It works well on a lot of guns, okay? That's what I'm trying to say here. Use it on like a lot of guns, you know? You can use it on a PDW, you can use it on a sniper, DMR, it doesn't matter. Good sight, one of my favorites, to be honest. Look at me go, dude. What? I got that? Oh. He's camping behind a corner again. And of course, I'm not switching to my secondary because I have brain rot. Next one is Pylad 3. This has a 2 times zoom as well. This is definitely not suited as well for automatic guns. I do use it on my A94 a little bit. It's really good on low recoil guns, but I'm talking like basically no recoil guns, you know? Even an AUG won't be as good. AS-Val is okay with it. Yeah, it's pretty good. But because it has that massive bar below the actual sight, that can kick up in your face really easily. A lot easier than the Coyote sight. So this is definitely going to be your DMR sniping sight because for some reason, I don't know, a lot of people have talked about this too. It makes you hit more headshots. I don't know why. I used it on my TCR a lot when the TCR was like my favorite gun. And yeah, you can hit headshots. If you have a headshotting basically only gun, yeah, use this. This thing is amazing with that. Any gun like that, any DMR, even like low recoil autos, it can be okay on. Really, really good sight. Not my favorite sight in the game just because like it doesn't work on most guns in the game. And we have Barsco Electro. This is a pretty cool, basically Coyote, but a different reticle. It's a slightly different model, but if you don't look pretty closely, you really can't tell that it's different, but it is different, which is pretty cool because yeah, they actually went through the trouble of making a separate model for this, even though it looks exactly the same, but it does have a different reticle as well. Reticle isn't quite as good, but like occasional person does prefer the reticle. I don't think it's as good, but I do use it like very occasionally. It's pretty good. But then of course we have the Kosaku sight. This is like a mixture between an iron sight and a sight. It has basically no zoom, 1.2 times, but that's pretty good on very high recoil guns, or if you're running a gun for only very close range. But I feel like the zoom level for me makes me just not quite as accurate. I used to use this a lot more than I do now, and I feel like that's true for a lot of people. When it first came out, it was like really not game breaking, but maybe game breaking. People thought it was game breaking because they're like, it basically lowers your recoil because it has less zoom, but like any alt-aim, any low zoom sight will kind of lower your recoil, but it won't actually, it'll just make it feel lower. But then next up we have the OKP7. Now this is kind of like the Cobra sight, but man, I really like this sight. I used to use it a little bit more. I don't really use it that much, and I feel like I should. I just don't feel like it's as good as it really could be. But then again, like it's a cool sight. I think aesthetically and like in use, it's good. Aesthetically, it's like one of the best looking sights in the game in my opinion. Sights, you just want something that works really well. The reticle is cool. It just has like kind of a big reticle. It's not just a dot, which would probably be better, but I like the reticle of it, and I love the way the actual sight looks, but the green tint is also not that great. We'll talk about the DCL. This is a really funny sight, I guess. It lowers your rotational recoil by 5%, lowers your handling quite a bit, but it has a 1 times zoom. Yeah, look at that, 1 time zoom. I basically don't run this sight ever. The reason for that is because I prefer alt-aim. Since it has 1 time zoom, you can't really hit shots from that that far. It doesn't actually really lower recoil that much. It's not really that useful except on really, really high recoil guns. But then again, just run an alt-aim because those high recoil guns are only for CQC. So just run an alt-aim. It's better for CQC. But then we have the DDHB reflex, which I should probably be using more because I really like the sight. It has a 2x zoom. It has kind of a weird plus reticle, but it's basically like a Coyote sight. That's about it. It's pretty much like a Coyote, but more different than the Barska Electro. You know, it has like a different looking model, different reticle again, but yeah, it's actually got like a noticeably different model, and the bars are a little bit larger, so a little bit more obstructive, but really not that big of an issue in terms of like hitting your shots. It's a great sight. It is really good. I don't use it a ton. I should probably use it more. I really like it. And yeah, check this one out. It's pretty high kills though, is the only issue, but like I have 500k credits, so I could buy it on every gun if I wanted to, but I don't know why. I just don't do that. Scopes are kind of weird, and most of them are pretty good, but I'll talk about some of the highlight ones, okay? First off, we have the Malcolm 3x. This only has a 3x zoom, but as you can see, very unobstructive. Like, yeah, it is probably the perfect overall scope in the game. It does actually like hide the corners of your vision, but that can be kind of helpful. Not really. ACOG is probably better if you want full visibility, but as you can see, it's only got a 3x zoom, but you can just see exactly what you're aiming at when you aim down sights. Then we have the ACOG sights, and I'll talk about all these at once. I have a ranking every ACOG video if you guys want to see that. Some of them have alt-aims, most of them have a 4x zoom and this kind of reticle. I think overall every ACOG except the TA44 ACOG is good. Yeah, TA44 ACOG is trash, but everything else is really good. And we have the VCOG sight, which does have a shift to steady, as you can see, so it will have a little bit of scope sway to it. If you don't like your default scope and you have a few kills on a sniper rifle or want to pre-buy a sight, this is pretty cheap, not super high kills, and it's a good reticle. Then skipping past all these trash ones, now we have the VCOG 8X, which is the good VCOG reticle in my opinion. This is the old but new one. The 6X reticle used to have the 6X reticle, and then they changed it, but then they brought it back and put it on the 8X. So when I used to play, I do remember in like 2017 or something, I picked up a Neon M60 with the VCOG with the 8X reticle. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best gun ever. What is this? And I also didn't know how to make the Neon skin, so I was like, is that a rare skin? I don't know. Back then, not a lot of people used the Neon. I don't know, maybe people didn't realize materials existed, but yeah, I rarely saw Neon skins in the game, and then I saw that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best gun ever. What is this gun? The Global Offensive is pretty good. It will lower your handling a little bit, but if you like the Malcolm but big boy, because it has a 10x zoom instead of 3, it's pretty good. And last up we have the BFG, which is the NXS, Sidewinder, the Leopold, the PM2, and kind of the Sagittarius. The PM2 is alright, but not my favorite. But yeah, definitely Sidewinder, Leopold, and NXS. These are like the amazing sniper rifle scopes. I'm gonna say it, guys, the 50 cal scopes are great because those are all the 50 cal scopes. I don't know why, but they make great scopes for 50 cals. They're all kind of sick, not gonna lie. If you've ever picked up an M107, I'll just show you the M107, okay? This is the M107 scope. It's cool. It is really, really cool. The Hecate has this scope, which is, you know, the Sidewinder. I think there's the other Sidewinder variant, which is also really good. And it's the TRG one, but of course, nobody uses the TRG anymore. It's really sad. It used to be like the most popular gun. But last up, we have the special sights. Now, the special sights I'll go through pretty quickly. The good ones are basically the alt-aim sights. OEG, as you can see, it basically zooms in from the side, but this is still aiming down sights and not hip fire. And it puts this little red dot, and it shoots where the red dot is. Pretty self-explanatory, very good. AMT Terminator's next, and this is basically the OEG meets the Mars sight. It doesn't have the dot, but as you can see, it's another laser for your gun, so better hip fire accuracy, and it's a little bit less obstructive than the OEG because, especially over range, the OEG is kind of annoying to hit stuff with because the dot covers a person because it's a pretty freaking big dot. But yeah, you can get the laser, aim with the laser, and go crazy. All the other special sights are pretty bad, but then we're gonna talk about the best one in the game. Maybe not, but kind of at the same time. Now, the Plague Insight is a sight that I've talked about before in multiple videos. Basically, the Plague Insight has a main 2x zoom, kind of out of recoil, but then if you press T alt-aim, no, that's the alt-aim of the gun, yeah, this is actually a 1x scope. So as you can see, it's not actually zooming in at all, but as you can see, that feels a lot lower recoil, quite a bit, and especially if you do that. What? That feels like no recoil. Basically, it's like a DCL 120, but it has a weird orange tint to it, but like you can still see what you're aiming at, maybe better than the DCL, and it also has no aiming or swapping penalties. So even though it's a scope, it has less penalty to your handling than a regular red dot sight, but admittedly a very large red dot sight. And yeah, if you have a high recoil gun like an AK or something, try this out, but like in my VIP server because it's very expensive. It's like a 6,000 kill sight, so yeah, do not pre-buy this thing unless you are dead set on using it. It's a really goofy sight because as you can see, it really does make your overall recoil feel a lot lower. Definitely not the most cost-effective sight in the game for sure. Like if you're gonna pre-buy a sight, I mean, you probably shouldn't pre-buy any sights. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe if you're new, but I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Have a nice day.